Sure, as we're talking about things that sort of feel awkward now but might change in the future, I was wondering if the panel could comment on changing social norms and expectations with regards to how much information about a person you're expected to know before you meet them. For example, tomorrow I'm meeting a prospective student and I'm expected to have read his personal statement and resume and know some things about him, which is also very common in business meetings to know who you're interacting with to make the most of the meeting. But then on the other end of the scale, there's also things like the new iPhone app called Date Check, look up before you hook up, which essentially does a complete background check on a person with just a name and phone number. And to me, that's a bit overboard. And you know, people still think it's very creepy if you know too much about a person before you meet them, or at least I do. And I was wondering, what do you think is going to change in terms of what people expect others to know about them?
Well, I can tell you from a hiring perspective. I mean, when we're hiring people, I'll go to Facebook, I'll do searches on Google, I'll read their blog, I'll see what they've posted, what they've talked about. You know, I know enough about them before they come to the interviews. Hopefully they know about us as an organization that they're interviewing with.
Well,
So
and to turn it the other way, the expectation is that you do the same.
Yep.
If I'm turning that around and you're coming in to interview with me, I'm out there doing that to you, right? And so you coming in, hopefully you've done that for me. So you can see if there are commonalities of, oh, hey, you went to Northeastern, Tim. My cousin went to Northeastern, happened to be at the same time. You know, now it's a huge school like CMU, and I probably don't know them. There's 9 different schools in Northeastern. But it's some sort of rapport building, if you will, of a commonality. So you should be able to have some level of conversation. Now, again, you take it to the private level of dating and all that stuff. Thank God I'm out of that world. But you know, I mean, that is scary.
Well, I have to talk about legal dating. Legal dating. Legal. No.
That's when you get the sign before you buy dinner.
Yeah,
Right.
No, legal dating is that you get your list of witnesses from the other side, and it's so much fun with experts, because they're propounding on everything, and they normally take both sides, and there's nothing quite like an expert saying, and this is the way it is, and global warming is this and this and this, and you just say, well, this is your Facebook page, and oh no, I let a friend, he changed it. Oh, but you left that Facebook page for the last 2 years with this statement in it, and you see the jury going, you're out of here.
You like your job, don't you?
I love it.
Yeah.
The search for truth.
When you're talking about looking up the person before you interview them is very interesting, because I think there's some kind of legal thing where you can't ask a person about certain things in an interview. Like you can't ask them,
protected characteristics.
Right. But I mean, if you think about it, like a lot of that stuff can be found in Facebook and those kind of places.
Sure.
Does that mean that people, if they're trying to get a job, should consider everything on the internet that could be out there about them, whether somebody is taking a picture of them, in a relationship with somebody, something that reveals something? Like they don't have control over that, but employers feel like they have an obligation to go and find out everything they can find. How does that impact?
I can tell you, I defend employers, hopefully successfully. But if I were on the other side in a refusal to hire case, and that person were at or over the age of 40, Spanish surnamed American, all the various or any of the various protected groups, I want to know from that employer through discovery everything they checked. And if they checked Facebook and they've got a photo of this person that identifies this person as as an African American, you can't get that out of your mind. And you can say, but you looked here and that was the photo you looked at. And yes, you didn't look at this, you didn't consider that person afterwards. That can be very, 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 very destructive. So it's tough because, as you know, when an employer is out there looking, everything comes in. And how do you explain that I looked at that, but I didn't consider that? Those are tough. Those are tough things. At the same time, we look all the time because we want to know.
Yeah. Well, a resume means, I mean, frankly, a resume means nothing these days.
Oh,
First
right.
thing that I get stacks of resumes on my desk. First thing I do is look for the blog address, look for the email address, try to discern kind of where your identity is stored, and toss out the resume and start searching on the
Yeah,
internet.
exactly. Medal of Honor winner, Nobel Peace Prize. Might be accurate though.
Now that said, it also helps, from a selling perspective. From a selling perspective, I mean, it's phenomenal because if I'm going in to sell to an organization, I can go look at the individuals that I'm going to sell to, and then you can start tailoring. You can take the presentation you're going to give and literally tailor it directly to those individuals. So if I'm going in and selling like social networking within an organization, and I identify one of the VP that I'm talking with is a big fan of Harley motorcycles. I mean, guess what one of my demos is going to be about? Oh, what if we had a Harley motorcycle community within the organization? What a great way people can connect, and I mean it's powerful in a number of ways.
And I'll give you a story on my son. My son is about to become a member of the board of directors of the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Association, which is the U.S. version of the Olympic Committee, and more than that. Somebody came in to Goldman to talk to him and just said, it's hard to really just talk because I've been so overcome by the Winter Olympics. Okay. So Kevin goes, there's no doubt it was like in 3 milliseconds.
Yeah.
He said, I'm getting no sleep, I'm just watching the Winter Olympics.
You got to be a little more subtle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was rejected for lack of subtlety. 5 minutes into it, it would have worked really well.
So these are great conversations around privacy, identity, value versus benefit associated with various different communities. But I really wanted to talk a little bit about analysis, right? Because one of the cornerstones of the class is social media analytics. How do you measure this stuff? What do you need to measure? How do companies need to value it and then tie that into strategic objectives, right? And we've seen this explosion last year of social media analytics companies. Partly, I think it's a lot due to monetization. People are realizing that this data is black gold for marketers, right? But at the same point in time, there's a lot of false negatives, there's a lot of false positives, there's a lot of noise out there. Let's face it, this is the blogosphere we're talking about, right? So these tools have become increasingly smarter. They're actually going to universities like this one here. They're going to universities like MIT and finding really smart social scientists, data scientists that know computational linguistics, semantic search processing, and incorporating that into their tools. But as we use a lot of these tools in the classes, we definitely find out that they're not perfect, right? Some are difficult to use, some fit certain constructs and others don't. So I'd like Rob to address this. What are limitations with some of the systems that are out there? What are we going to see that allow us to get a much clearer picture of what folks are looking for, what they're talking about when they're online, and how to better target these folks, especially now that Sean mentioned location is coming into play. Geolocation is critical. One of our case sponsors is Verizon, is very interested in this issue, and this brings out relevance, brings out context, brings out a tremendous amount that's very powerful for advertisers.
Yeah. So it's a great question. I mean, from our perspective, there's really 3 core areas that we've tended to focus on from an analytics perspective. The first is around what we call listening. It's what's kind of been really popularized in the last few months, or last 12 to 18 months, which is all about going through and analyzing all the data that goes across the wire, essentially, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on private networks, whether it's on public networks, whatever it may be. Our value proposition to companies has always been, you're doing a lot of this analysis already with customer feedback. What we can do is we can do it a lot faster now. So what would have taken you 2 months to go through and read all the surveys and feedback, we actually talked to a large car company that was doing that. They would do customer surveys, get that feedback, and then read through all the feedback and score them. It would take them approximately 2 months to get through it. And our value proposition to them was, look, we run the Vista blog for Microsoft. We get a lot of feedback. We took all that feedback, we run it through our analysis engine, and we can be about 80% accurate on what the positive or negative sentiment and tonality of the conversation is, and the idea isn't that you're looking at all the detail of the data. The idea is that you're getting a very quick pulse or directional indicator on which way the conversation is headed for topics that you care about, and then you can kind of start funneling down and drilling into it.